Okay. I definitely have a broken cable, but it turns out that broken cable is for the other camera. So I don't have to putz with that right now. At any rate, it's a crazy day. It's an absolutely crazy day. It's a good thing. I'm going down to see my son Michael, who's a little bit further than Norfolk, at Hampton Executive. So we're going to fly down there for lunch. Trying to catch up with each of them. You know, he's going back out to sea here shortly. Anyway, I'm going to go catch up with him. On the way down, I'm going 6,000 feet. I'm going to do the Gammy test correctly this time. Yeah, I'll get that done. Do the Gammy test. And what else are we going to do? Oh yeah, just let you know that I ordered an oxygen system, two-place oxygen system, because now I've got everything smoothed out in this airplane. I plan to use it. I'm going to Dallas at 10,000 feet both ways, and everybody has their own opinions about when you need oxygen. Certainly I'm going to be up there for 4 hours. I'm going to do that, and I also got a pulse oximeter, so I'll be measuring that. As a matter of fact, yeah, I need to pull that out and measure what my oxygen saturation is at 6,000 feet. I don't expect much change. I've already taken some measurements on the ground. So we're going to do that. Got big trips coming up next month. Got my iPad, my older iPad has expired, so if you're on ForeFlight and you have an iOS that's 12 point anything, it eventually is going to be retired. ForeFlight won't support it. So I went and got the backup mini. So lots going on. I also finally got my approval to purchase a gun in Maryland. So that all happened. Everything happened yesterday. Buying the oxygen system, doing the research for that, researching handguns and you name it. So I got quite busy. The issue that I have here that I have to figure out going forward is clutter. I have gotten, I hate wires in the cockpit, but because of the cameras and what I'm doing with the cameras, I'm allowing that for the cameras. But what you don't see behind the seat here is clutter, and I have a hard time dealing with that. Now I'm going to add oxygen and cannulas to that. So that equipment's going to go where the right rear seat usually is. There's a well there, so I've got to put that in there. 2 tanks I'm taking with me, and I'm going to secure those. So there's a lot for me to think about, a lot for me to do. But for today, we're just going to knock out that Gammy test. The different approach I'm going to take today is at 6,000 feet, I'm going to richen to 10 gallons per hour. Once I get stable, I'm going to richen it to 10 gallons per hour, and we'll begin the Gammy test there. That way we should capture as each EGT peaks and comes on down. Other than that, it should be a good day. My intent is, it's 9:45. We're going to start engines here shortly, so I can get down there, have lunch with them, see his new house, and then fly home before the thunderstorms hit. And it's date night tonight with the wife, so we're going to play cornhole tonight, so I got to get back in time for that. So that's kind of where we're at. A lot going on, but it's all good. The bad news is that the sound went away again for this flight, and I was really frustrated. In fact, I ended up rebuilding the cable, but the good news is I know what it is now. See that little button there? Somehow I had gotten switched to the crew mode, which knocks out the back 2 headphone jacks. That's where the plug goes. It's ended up being a really nice flight down to see my son Mike. Climbed up to 6,000 feet, in essence, and basically did the Gammy test on the way down. It is a shame we didn't capture the audio because I had a lot of good discussion. What I ended up doing was I did the Gammy test. The right side is complete. The left side still has 0.7 gallons per hour spread. It should be 0.5. I sent the email to GAMI to see what they want to do next. but we'll take it as it goes. One of them's done. The other one has a little bit of. This is a really good weather flight. I ended up using my 3 displays of weather for the XM weather. There goes Tisby weather, and that's displayed on both the 530 WAS and the iPad. And then there's the XM weather on the 496 Garmin. I ended up having a good time doing strategy around that. That was awesome. And now we're morphing into the approach I was doing into Hampton Roads exec. I believe it was the RNAV 28. I'll pop it up here in a second. At any rate, what was interesting about this is there's a hell of a lot of obstacles on this approach. Just south of Norfolk, there is a tower that you fly right over, and it's uncomfortably close. I've seen something similar in Baltimore, approaching from the west, going into BWI. Those towers are there, so you better be on your game and not be venturing off the localizer or glide slope much. But you get past that first tower, which I'm just passing here, and then you see a clearing in front. Yeah, you can see it popped up, the RNAV 28. You can see a clearing in front as I approach the airport. There's a crane that was elevated right in the final approach path. Again, I went over that thing maybe 100 feet above. I might be exaggerating, but it got my attention, with all these things. What you don't see is in the distance off to my 1 o'clock position, there is a very large tower. I'm not sure exactly how high it is, so I won't guess and sound stupid. But it's off to the right, and you need to be careful of that too. So there's an obstacle departure procedure here that needs to be followed. As a matter of fact, when I got my IFR clearance to go home, they gave me that clearance to follow, and I had to look it up. It's right on the approach path. So here's that crane I talked about. Ended up being a good visit. Saw Mike's new house. That was fun. And then got the battle weather on the way home, which was every bit as interesting. I really enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, what I ended up doing was on departure, I found myself in a situation where I had planned it out. I knew where 2 cells were forming, and I was going to fly between those very small cells and head out west and come up the backside of this whole storm line. On takeoff, everything updated. Of course, I know that you have to be careful with weather, that there is a delay, but I also had some visual indications. Long story short, I was wrong. I took off and headed to the west, and now I see these 2 cells starting to converge, and it looked like a very uncomfortable path through. They gave me a clearance up to 6,000. So it'll happen in a few minutes. Right here, I'm still landing, but they gave me a clearance to 6,000 on departure, and I said I'm not going to do that. I said I have to stay visual to see where those downdrafts are. Not that that's a perfect solution, but that was something. So when I expressed that concern, she came back and negotiated and said, hey, you want to go north? How about I turn you right now? And it was like, duh, why didn't I think of that? I didn't think of it because things were happening pretty fast. I had just taken off in busy airspace with storms all around. And I had just taken off with that, and she was thinking ahead of it. And so I said, oh, that's awesome. So she did a great job, turned me right 360, and then communicated, and here's that departure. After that departure, she communicated up the line, so she passed it on. And each one of those guys knew what my strategy was, kept me at 3,000 all the way up. I got a smooth ride through light to moderate rain, and that was it. As a matter of fact, I don't even think there was moderate rain. So working with them to renegotiate a path away from that preferred route ended up being a great solution. They were all professional all the way up the line. So you want to be impressed, work with these guys, from Norfolk to Potomac on up to Dover and then Philly. So it's good stuff. So here we are coming into the light rain, barely IFR. As a matter of fact, I don't think I would call much of it IFR. Maybe I got 0.3 out of the entire trip. But what you can see, looking at the weather displays, is that the original route that the preferred route kept giving me, like through ForeFlight, for example, it continued to give me that route up right through the storm center. So it doesn't, obviously it doesn't consider storms. It's working at keeping you away from restricted airspace. So the first thing I did, I called them before I launched and made sure they understood what I was trying to do. That strategy right there paid off, because when I called them up, when they got the initial clearance, that lady, that professional lady I worked with, knew ahead of time what it was I was trying to do. And you know, even if I hadn't called, she'd have figured it out. But it really made it smooth. I said, look, I'm trying to file this, and it keeps changing me to a preferred route right through the storms. She goes, oh yeah, we see what's going on there. Okay, so now they were ready. As soon as I launched, bang, I had my route, came up on the west side, and it worked out great. So as the flight continues now, what I can tell you is that I've figured out the sound thing. So you know, we'll get a lot of this discussion synchronized with the flight. It would have been great to share this stuff, so I'll make sure that um, I'm good to go next time, unless we have other issues. But I think I got it all squared away, so I'm looking forward to posting the next one. And it's timely because on the next flight, we're going to have a lot of new things to do. No more Gammy testing for a while. What we're going to be doing is climbing up to 10,000 feet with these, first time with these engines. I'm going to be flying down to Dallas. I'm going to be using oxygen. I put a new mountain air oxygen system in there. There's been a certain saga around finding an oxygen supplier. Rather than do a video about that, I'll put that in a blog. And you know, the purpose of that is so that you don't have to run around and learn the things that I've been learning. Could I have done the system that I put in there less expensively? Probably. But at some point, you got to bite the bullet and figure all this stuff out on your own. So I did, and now I got the mountain air system in there, and I'm going to use it, and you know, we'll see what kind of mistakes come with that. I have a pulse oximeter, and I'm looking forward to seeing how long the oxygen system lasts. You know, how long the tank I have lasts. It is a on-demand type of a system, but so we'll see. And then heading down to Dallas for work purposes, so that'll be a good long mission, probably about 8 hours plus or minus, probably not minus, and we'll see how that goes. That should be a good flight. I'm glad we got the sound thing figured out before we're heading down there. And here we are coming up on Patuxent. I had taken the camera off its mount and just moving it around because we broke out into relatively clear conditions. It was really nice outside, smooth ride. I was enjoying myself, feeling successful about getting around the storms with a good working relationship with each of the controllers on the way up. So I was feeling pretty good about everything, and I thought I'd take that camera off and give you a virtual tour of the airplane, if you will. Again, bummer that the, the video wasn't there. There's a storm front as building along the original preferred route. No way I could have gotten up there smoothly. There's no way I would have done that. I would have had to really go far out over the water. There's no point in that. So I just shot up the middle. So it's good stuff. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Next time we'll have a little bit better sound and a really awesome trip. Fly safe.